Hi, I'm Reha Dani and I have been brought up in Mumbai. I'm a student at Flame University in Pune pursuing my undergraduate studies in psychology. So, my childhood has been pretty much like any other person's childhood in Mumbai, like a typical Gujarati family. I used to live in a joint family with like 16 of us living in a 3 BHK, and I am the first girl child in my family, and I have three elder brothers, first cousins, and I have a younger brother myself.
So I was born and brought up in Hyderabad for the most part, and I have a brother, an elder brother. And what has been one unique thing my whole life is that in my house, my mother was the earning member and not my father. So all my life that has stood out only because people didn't understand the fact that my dad was not the working one made a lot of people uncomfortable, including my teachers, my friends' parents, etc. etc. So it has been interesting growing up with that, having my mother being the earning member. That has changed, like formed my perspectives about a lot of things.
Hi, so my name is Palak and I am from Hyderabad. I've been brought up with seven brothers and I'm the only sister in the family. So I was very influenced with the kind of choices I made in my childhood. Like, I am way more fascinated by sports when compared to like maybe Barbie dolls. I played way too many sports, from like athletics to basketball to handball to taekwondo even. That's when there was the first argument in my family which said, she's a girl, what will happen when she injures herself, it'll spoil her physique and face and stuff like that. And then I was forced to like change my sport. Things like, I want to go partying when I was younger, there would be restrictions because A, I was young, and B, I was a girl. So that way there were differences that I saw in my childhood, but I think most of my childhood has been very fun because I've always been around brothers and they've sort of been my bodyguards all the time. So
So I think like as a girl, the way you are expected to socialize is very different, because like if you talk a lot to a guy, a lot of people will start assuming that y'all are dating or y'all are a couple, and even family members will have a problem with that because they don't want others to think that you are with somebody who you are not with. And again, like this is also related to how the society will perceive your relationships with others and then judge you based on that. And a lot of these things affect the way you socialize, because if from childhood a girl is said that don't talk to guys too much because this is what people will think, then you start feeling so underconfident around like people from the other gender, and it just ruins your socialization skills, because by the time you grow up you are not used to being in that element. You're not used to naturally talking to a person from another gender, which just makes you really awkward and really affects the socialization in personal and professional terms.
I grew up with like seven brothers and I don't really have any sisters. So my habits and my behavior were very similar of those that guys usually have. So when I was younger, I had a habit of opening my legs wide open, like sitting with my legs wide open, and I wouldn't sit like how a girl is supposed to be sitting. So all my childhood, I used to hear say things like, Palak, don't sit like that. Palak, close your legs. Palak, cross your legs and sit. This is not how a girl sits. And I am somewhat also very loud when I talk. And that's again because I've always been around boys and they're usually very loud, and that's what I've always heard and listened to when I was a child. So I used to even talk very loudly, and there were people who used to just come and say, Palak, you're not supposed to talk so loudly, girls are supposed to be soft spoken. So there were a lot of things that people tried to change in my childhood only because I was a girl, and that sort of shaped my personality, which is now.
But in the working world, there are a lot of preconceived notions about what a woman should be, should not be. You know, I've gotten personally a lot of comments saying don't do this. That's not very girl-like. That's not very ladylike and stuff like that. Just very simple things like literally sitting with my legs wide open and wearing clothes that are revealing and all. My brother can wear a tank top and it's okay. Sleeveless doesn't matter to him, but sleeveless matters to me. And all that. So even when it comes to grooming, a guy can be like, ungroomed and that's okay. And compared to me, if I have unruly hair or I have some facial hair or something like that, it's not okay. I have to go to the parlor immediately and some nonsense like that. So these double standards that are there, I feel like these are things that are still very common, and like every woman, girl, even grandma face it even now during this day and age. So I think it's unfair. These double standards affect the sexism. Double standards affects both men and women. I can see that with me and my brother, with my mother and father. So yeah, I think it's quite unfair.
So this is something I'm not very proud about, but I think the way I dress up is very much influenced by what I see people doing around me or on social media, because there's this thing of acceptance in our age, and that comes through like what these cool kids or influential people do. The society and the social media has honestly played a very big role in shaping me as a person physically and accepting the kind of person I am physically. So yeah, I think it's played a very big role, and sometimes it's gone down the lane, but I think it's played a very big role in making me accept as a person I am physically.
Yeah, and I think all this has to do with the way the society that I grew up in perceives women, and these rules that are imposed in terms of like physical appearance and physical dressing and everything, like appearance and your dressing sense and everything. So that's affected my aunts and whoever who's put these rules on me and my other female cousins, and these expectations that come with being a girl. As if the other expectations are not enough, they try to control the way you express yourself with your style. It's only now that I've come out of my house into another state, and I'm with my students, my batchmates and everybody, that I'm able to like openly express myself without being conscious or aware. Oh, am I giving the wrong signals? Oh, am I showing too much skin and stuff like that? So yeah,
I think in terms of like physical appearance, there are way too many expectations when it comes to being a woman. I think even like expecting girls to not be tanned or having like a very clear skin all the time, when something like acne is a puberty and a biological like factor, and it can come to everybody. So expecting girls not to have that and like expecting them to not be a part of a lot of activities just because you're a girl is just really wrong. Because I know so many of my friends who don't go swimming, who don't go and play Holi because they get tanned and they'll get sunburnt, and I think that is just really wrong, because you're stopping people from doing a lot of things that everybody is a part of just because they're a girl, and it will affect their physical appearance.
What would I have done for a young woman in India is that I think that make this a much more safer place, physically and emotionally a safer place for young women all over the country, not just for my daughters, but for all the daughters in the country.
According to me, being an independent woman means someone who takes her own decisions about her life and career and have a strong mindset. For a woman to survive in this modern world, two powerful traits she should possess is to be financially.
And I think being an independent woman, woman should study and work hard and promote equality in every stage.
So I think here in India, everyone just tries so hard to look like they are independent, and they give their daughter or whoever, like a woman independence. They're so busy trying to show that okay, we are progressive, we show this independence and all that. But it's just the fact that you're trying to put in so much effort in showing that oh, we give our daughter independence, she works here, or like she comes back late and all of that. It just shows that the fact that you're flaunting it so much means that you're doing it consciously for people to notice it. Because you don't go around saying that oh, I let my son do this, or I like my son does this and my son does that, and we give him so much independence. It just naturally comes to everyone that okay, beta hai to independence so hogi. So it's just everyone tries to be so pretentious about giving independence to women in India that it just
That's all the time.
Yeah, so like when I was younger, I was inappropriately touched by like a stranger multiple times, and I didn't realize it at the time. I realized it when I grew up much later, when I was in like grade 7 or 8. And that's when we started knowing about like puberty and what what sex is, what like this is, that is. That's when it hit me that whatever had happened, and it had affected me like subconsciously that I didn't even know. So as I grew up and as we came to like know about all these things, I realized that subconsciously I became more introverted. Like physically I was a very extroverted person as a kid, and I would do theatre, dance, everything. And I guess as soon as I realized that this was a bad thing or something, that I became physically introverted, like more than anything. I started putting myself out there physically. And finally I told my mom as well, and the worst part about this is that my mom told me that she went through something similar when she was younger, and that she said all women go through it and it's okay, and she said we're strong enough to get over. But that's something that I think is very unfair, because no guy that I have spoken to about this ever got the gravity of the situation. For some reason I always felt more comfortable talking to my guy friends because they have no idea. Whereas I always felt thoda uncomfortable telling my girlfriends because they can imagine what that's like. And I feel, in a way, I feel closer to my girlfriends because of that.
I think growing up as a woman in India is very challenging and struggling for literally anyone, because you have to be like okay with your appearances, what you're going to do in life, and so many other things. And every step of the way, everyone's like going to question the decision you make for yourself. And each day is a different struggle, because some days you wake up and you're not feeling okay with your own body, in your own body, or with your own appearances, or even with the choices that you're making in life, because there's so many people who are going to question you, even considering parents at some point, or even your friends you think would like support you with whatever choices you make. And honestly, if we're talking about like being progressive in like India, they need to stop giving us permission for everything. Like they literally say, even though you're a girl, we're letting you do this, and then they call it, oh, we're very progressive. Like, do you see what kind of a hypocrite you are if you're saying this? It's very tough to make people understand, because that's what they take as progressiveness in India.
India proudly announces that it is a country that worships women. But as a woman in India, I want to know which women are we worshipping? Or should I be asking what definition of worship does India follow? Does worshipping mean ignorance? Or does it mean ill treatment? Is this worshipping supposed to make them feel unsafe or insecure? Do women have to reciprocate to this worship through sacrifices or through submissions? We hear a lot from India about their stand on women's safety, women empowerment, and treatment of women in the country. We hear statistics and proud chants of progress. All we want to ask as women growing up in India is progress really there?